Andrei. How are you, Andrei? We've got, you were telling me not long ago about Iran's air defense capabilities, and just now, not only an F-15 was shut down, but the New York Times just reported that in A10 was shut down as well at the same time over the Strait of Hormuz. The pilot's been rescued. And those are much harder, as Matt Tardy was saying earlier, much harder to shoot down than most other aircraft, American aircraft. What do you make of this? How was the F-15 shut down so late in the war, and how throughout the entire war we had no aircraft shut down, and now we have two shut down literally within the same hour?
Well, as I already stated, it's war. Welcome to the real war, which U.S. military has no idea about. Now they're experiencing it, and it is probably operational trick of Iranians, and whoever helps them is to basically get the lure U.S. Air Force closer to the ranges of the Iranian air defense. Simple as that. And I don't see what's so surprising about it, because obviously only a kindergarten moron, retarded child will believe that the somehow friendly fire of the Kuwaiti pilot, and he shut down 3 F-15s. So it's just the regular situation with the real war, with the enemy having actual air defense. United States Air Force and military has no experience whatsoever. It's zero in terms of the real SIAD, suppression of the enemy air defense, unless, of course, we're talking about mighty air defense and air forces of Taliban and, the Iraqi air defense, which actually has roots in the pre-American Civil War times. So, but here is you have people who actually know how to shoot back, and you can expect more of that. And now that United States is pushed deeper into this strategic trap, operationally and tactically, they have to move their air assets closer to the inside Iranian airspace, where they are facing their actual air defense. And whatever is there, whatever Iran has there, it's pretty effective. And do not forget, many people still do not understand what is being told and has been shown. If you take a look at videos, which is much more actually impressive than shooting down aircraft, shooting down combat aircraft, if you have modern air defense complexes, is not that difficult. What is difficult, when you begin to repulse what is called, well, in Russian it's called mrau, but you can see many videos and photos of shut down JASSMs and Tomahawks. So Iran is doing its job, and that's probably going to increase the more Trump is lured into this strategic trap. And once you have the boots on the ground, that's going to be very interesting.
How do you think they shot it down? What would it take to shoot down an A10 and F-15? Because the F-15 is a very stealthy aircraft, very stealthy. Everyone I spoke with tells me how difficult it is to shoot it down. It's never been shot down
it's
ever.
Baloney. Yeah. If you have the real air defense complex, it will shoot down
You
F-15.
think it was an S-300? You think it was an S-300?
No, you don't have to have S-300. You don't have to have, again, there are no people in the U.S. military who have any grasp of the modern air defense. Even something like ASA-M or ASA-2M, which is actually standard in the Iranian and it's mobile complex and modernized, it can take out pretty much anything. And so, and this is not it's considered to be short to medium range type thing. Iran has also variants of the Buk M1 and Buk M3. It also has the air defense complexes, which have been created, indigenous one, with the help of North Korea. So it has plenty of means, and many of them mobile, to shoot down F-15 or whatever is being shot down. And even A-10, however, yes, that's the aircraft which is really tough. It's slow, but it can take a lot of punishment, especially if it is AAA, anti-aircraft artillery. It can take punishment, okay? But if you get the, even if you get the latest Verba, which is Manpad, and I don't know, I assume Iran has something like Verba or the latest versions of Igla. If you get it into your nozzle exhaust, and two engines give up, It doesn't matter how tough you are, you're going to fall. So it's just, again, it's real war. There you go. Welcome to the real war.
But Andrei, what I'm confused is that none were shut down throughout the entire war. How could both be shut down at the same period? I know I've asked this question already, but it's just very, what are the odds? Could it indicate anything? Is like, what was the A10 responding to the shooting of the F15? It was shut down.
That I don't know. Don't ask me that. I don't know. I do not comment on things which I don't have the verifiable data. So it could have been this. There are many scenarios, but again, in one day they shot down 3 F-15s. How it could be?
You talk about the ones in the Kuwait friendly fire ones?
Allegedly, yes. I don't know. And what difference does it make anyhow? Because operational level officers, we are not tactical level. I'm not talking about the commanders of the air defense batteries and the complexes, as it is known. Operational level officers, they actually calculate only the combat data which comes from the front line, and they look at the losses, they look at the expenditure of the whatever they have, the means, missiles, shells, and the losses of the personnel. That's what they look at. They do not look at, oh yeah, he came from whatever direction and that's the elevation, we have the lock on at this and that. This is the matter for primarily tactical level officers. They are trained for that. They know what to do. And then, of course, you have to keep in mind that much of the air defense of Iran will continue to operate, which is called air defense ambushes. And again, this is not Iraq, okay? United States Air Force didn't face serious air defense threat since Vietnam, period. And it's only people who tell military fairy tales think about the Iraq war, so any kind of the serious Air Force or air defense. That it was basically non-existent there. And so, let alone Afghanistan. So manpads, yeah, but most likely something, especially if you take down A10, as I already stated, it's either it's a tough aircraft. It's a really magnificent, slow U.S. Air Force because it loves glamour. They don't like it, but this is one of those war horses, which is very respectable. It's a tough aircraft. So if you take this thing down, that means something serious hit it.
Why so late in the war? Put the Kuwaiti ones aside.
Late. War is over.
Like 31. No, it's not over. I'm just curious. So first, it demonstrates that Iran's capabilities have not been destroyed. That's one, obviously. But I'm just surprised. Why do you think there were? So is it maybe a level of complacency on the American side, thinking they destroyed the air defense systems, and then that happens?
I just explained it to you. U.S. Air Force and U.S. military has no idea what is real SIAD against the enemy, which has actually comprehensive air defense systems. So, and they never encountered that again since Vietnam. And so here they are beginning to learn. And again, it's not just complacency. They don't have experience. They don't have reference point. They don't understand how it works. And they learned nothing from Ukraine. But yeah, it's all about this American military mythology of how tough we are. We can defeat a 5-year-old kid in the sandbox of Iraq and say, oh, we're the greatest ever. This is
on the counter side, like when I spoke to other experts, I'm like, how was Iran able to destroy the fighter jet today? Or shoot down a fighter jet. Now we know about the A10.
Turkey also says there was another F-16 down also, but it's Turkish. But we have to wait and see for the confirmation.
A Turkish F-16?
Not Turkish, Turks. Turkey official.
Turkish sources are saying.
Yeah, they also said there was F-16 also down. So we'll have to wait and see. I cannot confirm one way or another.
But the counter argument to this is that this war's been going on for 31 days now. Obviously, it's pretty significant that a fighter jet was just shut down today. I know there's the Kuwaiti ones reportedly by friendly fire. You're saying reportedly by friendly fire. But why don't we have significantly more aircraft that were shut down? Why haven't they been shut down in the early days? Why don't we have 4 or 5 F-15s that were shut down by the S-3 and potentially S-400s? So why don't we have significantly more casualties on the American side? Because it seems the majority of the American
casualties... I explained it. You're repeating the same question. I explained it to you. Iran is very strategic. Iran needs U.S. Air Force assets, the American combat planes, doesn't matter what types, inside its airspace, because that's where the air defense complexes are, and it needs them within the ranges of the Iranian air defense complexes. For those people who do not know, evidently Pentagon doesn't because they are incompetent people, is that there are only 4 countries in the world which produce air defense complexes of the long range. Let me tell you what those countries are. Those countries are Russia, United States, China, with North Korea making the knockoffs of the Russian air defense complexes, primarily S-300 family, and Iran, if you didn't know. They have indigenous long-range air defense complexes. What can I say?
How capable are they?
They are Iranians. Well, we know it's not true, but they are good enough to shoot down anything. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And I'm talking about the long range, which you begin to consider long range complexes starting around 150 kilometers range. This is what considered long range against aerodynamic targets. And yeah, this is what it is. I mean, how can I explain again that Iran produces those complexes apart from producing the derivations of the knockoffs from the North Korean line of the, which essentially has the root, the base in the S-300 complexes.
Is that the Bavar we've talked about in the last time we spoke together?
Yeah, they have all kinds of things. Yeah, they have. If you take a look at the list of the Iran air defense complexes, so they have a variety of them. There's this whole spectrum. And so,
Hordad, 15, Rad.
Yeah, there are all kinds of them. Yeah,
wow,
with the
there's a lot
range
of them.
yeah, all kinds of them. So, and if Pentagon didn't account for that, well, it's too bad. As I already stated, United States Air Force never encountered since Vietnam anybody who actually will start shooting your planes down from such ranges that you wouldn't even know until your passive system will basically start screaming at you that you have a lock on. Or if they use passive weapons, you wouldn't even know.
There's been a lot of targets that were shot down. The US shot over 12,000 targets. I think Israel's dropped about 12,000 bombs as well.
Yeah.
So there's tens of thousands of targets that were struck, a bridge that was struck. It seems that Iran's best ability to retaliate is striking in kind the targets in the Gulf. They've done that. It's been a while we haven't spoken. They've done that obviously in the gas field. That was pretty significant. Recently, they've threatened bridges if Trump delivers on his threat of striking Iranian infrastructure and bridges. They've threatened American universities. Beirut just requested, the U.S. embassy in Lebanon and Beirut requested people to avoid the American embassy there because Iran's threatened American embassies in the region. I think a lot of not embassies, American universities in the region.
Yeah.
A lot of these universities now are doing education from home without students attending those schools. So the response, including the water plant, the Iran struck a desalination plant in Kuwait right after their water plant got struck by Israel. So since Iran is striking in a very tit-for-tat response to any attacks on Iran, striking the Gulf, because that's obviously their best way to be able to retaliate, but also heavily targeting Israel on a daily basis. We saw the Passover strikes. What's your analysis of how the war's been progressing so far and that ability of Iran to retaliate within hours in some cases whenever a certain escalation ladder step was crossed by the US or Israel?
I mean, they strategically Iran already won. And it is also in the driving seat operationally because they have what United States never encountered on other enemies, which are long-range fires, which are as good as the American ones, if not better. And so they will continue to do. They basically are destroying Israel. We saw what happened with the Petah Tikva, with aerosol of industrial plant, which produces Israeli drones. It's gone.
Yeah, that was yesterday, no?
Gone. And so, yeah, it continues annihilation of the military industrial capacity of Israel, which is essentially, it's defenseless, basically. And the fact that United States now scrambles all air defense complexes where it can get them. Poland already told United States to go pound sand. It's not returning the Patriot, which they have. So, and it's a catastrophe, economic catastrophe for Gulfists. So Gulfists suddenly all this, glitz and glamour just gone. And we now have the situation with aluminum. And Iran will continue to do this until basically, that United States offered again 48-hour ceasefire. The response of Iran was that, no, Everything will be decided on the battlefield. And again,
that was the report today. Just for the audience, that's the report about today. Iran rejecting just about an hour, less than an hour ago, a few minutes ago, according to the New York Times, Iran or Wall Street Journal, Iran rejected the ceasefire proposal by the US completely. No negotiations in Pakistan.
Why would you do the ceasefire? Didn't we see this pattern in Ukraine with special military operation? The moment there is a massive destruction of the formations of whatever terrorist army of Ukraine, and made the best proxy in their industrial capacity, there is a submission of the ceasefire. We need the ceasefire. Russians said no. So, and they continue to annihilate. Basically, this is what happens when you essentially strategically won. It's just a matter of operational arrangement of how the victory will be achieved in terms of the purely judicial means, not with Trump's BS, where he comes out as he already defeated around 37 times, people counted. He probably will defeat Iran another 37 times. But the problem is, United States already lost this war. What is at stake right now? How many American boys and girls, many of whom know that what is going to be done to them, the United States will want to kill in order to submit, to completely submit it to Israel. Simple as that. Trump administration is in panic. And basically, when you see what is happening there, the guy completely lost it. That is why we also have the situation with his fanatic Pete Hegseth, and he basically removing the people such as Randy George, chief of staff of the army, who probably told him to go pound sand, because what he's trying to accomplish is a bunch of amateurs there, which he's high on his own supply and Schofield Bible, who wants to kill more American kids for who knows why. And evidently, that is why the removal of the top of the U.S. Army. Evidently, those generals told him that it's going to be a disaster. But this is not what Trump knows. And again, he is done. He's political corpse. He's trying to survive literally, because in the end, who knows at what point the 25th Amendment will begin to feature really prominently, even among those corruptioneers from the U.S. Congress. And that he might end up behind bars, because we know that Epstein files are still out there, and he mentioned there 5,000 something times. So there you go. Make your own conclusions.
What about the strategy of trying to create that wedge? I was talking about it earlier between the US and Europe, allowing the French tanker to pass through the Strait of Hormuz after France, I think, stood up to Trump and didn't allow their bases to be used by the US. We're seeing other European countries consider the same thing. Spain's already done the same thing. Yeah. And there's been talks about Spanish tankers going through. What do you make of this development? Where is Europe's place?
It's not the wedge. It's not the wedge. The demands by Iran were exceedingly clear. You support United States and Israel, you're not getting anything. So suddenly Spain and France begin to close not only airspace, they completely withdrew essentially Europe from this, it's military adventurism and war crime, what Israel and United States are doing. And suddenly, Iran says, oh, okay, good. You basically fulfilled one of the critical, what is a root cause, so to speak, requirements. So there you go. You will be rewarded. Simple as that. That's what many people do not understand, the depths of this whole thing. While they concentrate on this tactical minutia, which is really boring, it is for the fanboys who play those games and the guys who, I was in Afghanistan, no, this is a real war. And these guys are already inflicting so much pain, including on the United States, not to speak about Europe, which is completely removed now from the energy supply. So what do they have as an option? Only to submit, and that's what they're doing. Iran put there the toll booth, and they're talking only about Oman and Iran, and Oman probably will go along with Iran's plan, and that's it. It's not going to go back anytime soon. But now we have also people, including those who actually deal with the not only the futures, which is the paper oil, but actual physical oil. They say even if it stops now, it's still going to hit $200 per barrel. It's catastrophe. And simple as that. And so United States is now has to deal with also the situation that Iran takes the toll of what is it, equivalent of $1 per barrel moved, transported, but equivalent. It's in yuans. And so petro yuan is here, petrodollar is out. So we have the remaking of the global world order. And today you see yourself what is happening and where it will go. Will Trump, in his act of desperation and madness, offer, order even nuclear strike? He might. I'm not saying that it's going to happen.
No. Andrei,
Yeah, well, let's hope.
They don't need to.
Let's
we don't have the U.S. mainland being struck. We don't have America's obviously not. I don't think doing well strategically. But what is America going through? Like, you've got Russia and the Ukraine war. Russia's getting, obviously, Ukraine borders Russia. So Russia's being struck. The Russian mainland's being struck on an almost daily basis. Russian energy infrastructure. We haven't had one strike on U.S. infrastructure or the U.S. mainland whatsoever. Maybe we get some sort of attack, some sort of...
No. You are reading it absolutely incorrectly. Again, these are details which matter. Yeah, Russia will getting hit primarily on civilian population because this is the only thing they are capable of. So I already posted the video from Ust-Luga. It is for those people, and it was the day of which you basically repeating the Ukrainian and American propaganda here without knowing actually what is happening. So go to my blog, look up the videos from Ust-Luga. It operates as it operated before. So, but again, it's, constantly, that's the essentially the algorithm of the side ops to put forward some BS and make people debunk it while saying, so if you want to basically operate with the data, which is the Ukrainian propaganda, you may. But the problem.
No, I never said I never said the refinery is not working. I'm saying because we're referring to whether US will use a tactical nuke. I'm saying the Russian mainland is being struck. The energy infrastructure, civilian targets, etc., whatever it is being struck. How much damage, etc. I don't know. You're a better expert.
I'm telling you, very minimal. That's the primarily civilian targets, especially borderlands. They kill a lot of civilian, kill, damage, and apartment blocks, things of this nature. And this is also another thing, which is Mr. Trump also declared that he wants Iran into the Stone Age. Well, guess what? This is war crime, essentially. He is officially committed, United States, to committing war crime and crime against humanity. So we have to understand the difference between what Russia fights. And if you take a look at the data, just for you to know, more than 2.5 million of the KIAs on Ukrainian part. These KIAs, not counting the what is called wounded in action. So, and that is why even CNN admits about the demographic catastrophe in Ukraine. This is two totally different wars. But this is the first time when the United States actually got itself into the war with real opponent.
It's probably the most powerful military the US has faced in a very long time. I can't disagree with that. I just don't think we're very far from the US. I know there's talks about Israel using a nuke. I still think that's extremely unlikely. They'll just become a pariah state.
No, I'm not,
and they don't need to either.
You're not listening what I'm telling you. I'm not saying.
No, I know you didn't say Israel. Yeah, I know. I'm saying I'm
saying United States. I didn't say Israel. I said
I know. I'm not saying you. So I'm saying a lot of other people are saying Israel could, including David Sachs from the administration.
Israel, if they go for that, it's gonna cease to exist. Not because somebody will respond with the nuclear, but because it's
become a pariah state. Yeah.
Oh, it's already a pariah state, but it's going to be much worse. And there will be the scattering. Okay, there will be. And so, but it is about United States. It's not now about Israel because Trump, in this case, is a decision maker. And Israel would not necessarily be unhappy if United States does it. And it's you have to understand. There is no black and white, like binary, 0, 1, possible, not possible. No, this is not Manichaean world, actually. It is all about probability of event happening. And so in this case, is it possible that United States uses nuke on Iran? Absolutely possible. How probable it is? That's the whole other story and the whole different debate. But it's not non-trivial probability. It's fairly significant in the sense that you can see this probability, and there are basically circumstances and conditions under which United States, which is facing now catastrophic military defeat, you have to remember, you probably don't remember why Mr. Truman threw out MacArthur from the command of the Korean War. Well, MacArthur wanted the nuclear weapons deployed there. And actually, some nukes have been moved to one of the islands in the Pacific during the Korean War. During the Vietnam War, United States considered strongly using of the nuclear weapons. United States is the nuclear-biased nation. It also cannot take casualties. And because of that, that is why it is biased. And when facing with the catastrophic defeat, that's what United States might do. I'm not saying again that it will necessarily happen, but this is always a consideration. And in this particular case, as I already stated, strategically, well, if you even read today's Trump's tweet or whatever the name of this through social, this is not mentally normal person who is typing this, apart from the fact that we already know that he has suffering from the onset of dementia and he's borderline, personality disorder guy he is. So there's a lot of things which are going there. And the only thing we can say is that, so far US media have been trying to spin it such a way that, and suddenly Time magazine yesterday comes out and says, oh, Pete Hegseth was caught off guard, and how the military, basically aides and military personnel around Trump was selling him this BS picture about battlefield successes. It's very easy to BS people like Trump or Pete Hegseth. They do not understand basic fundamental things about warfare. And so that's what Pentagon was selling him. Rosy picture. That's how I quoting Time magazine. And now the insiders from the White House, they talk about it. The guy was kept absolutely in the alternative universe. And suddenly now he begins to feel the heat. And let me tell you, when you have the guy who actually takes his news from Fox News, that's a red flag, okay, immediately. Not that other US media are better. It's same junk. But Trump watches Fox News, and you have the coterie of those imbeciles, the losers generals, Kellogg, Keane, the guys who would be laughed out at the brigade level morning briefing in the Russian armed forces as incompetent amateurs. They continue this BS. Don't forget, these were people who were saying that Russia is defeated in Ukraine. These are the same people. And guess what? It's a systemic problem then. And when you have the guy with at best, the psychology and mental level of the NCO, who is the minister or whatever, secretary of the war, what do you expect? He has no real serious military background. He studied politics, whatever. He was run through this fake pseudo-military organization like ROTC and got himself into Afghanistan. You kidding me? This is the guy who is secretary of the war, who for some reason thinks that he's strategist. He won't understand basic things about operations, operational level. And so we have this result. And so where we go from there, or from here rather, we have what? We want to kill more American boys and girls for nothing, for serving Israel. This is what the situation is.
Do you expect boots on the ground?
Yeah, I do. Trump is a coward, and Trump is a coward, and and you have the fanatic like Hegseth, who is the Third Temple, whatever, the Scofield Bible brainwashed Christians. He's not Christian; they are Zionists, basically. That's who they are. And so, for him, it's basically the biblical fight against whatever the evil. Well, the guy again, he's uncultured, badly educated, and which is majority of those people in Washington, D.C. And so, boots on the ground most likely going to happen.
Where and why? How, if you don't mind me asking?
What?
Where, how, and where and how, and why? What would be the objective of them? So is it the enriched uranium? Is it the islands and the straits?
No, they cannot.
I'm sure one you disagree with.
No, Hark Island, they cannot take Hark Island. It's essentially, you need to get Marines there. Of course, they will try to land there something, 82nd, airborne. That's what they do. They have Black Hawks. They go in. It's a light infantry, essentially. So the same goes for the Marines expeditionary units. They have the two MEUs, which essentially in actual combat power is the two they're 2,500, but in reality, what you land is about 1,000, which is enforced battalion. But they do not even have serious heavy equipment. They have Marines-specific landing capabilities and all that. But it is also, to a certain degree, the light infantry. So what you do, basically, you get them into some kind of the bridgehead or beachhead. And guess what? They are immediately pinned down. So the idea is that they will be resupplied by all those Ospreys, and Black Hawks. Well, guess what? There is one problem. And again, you mentioned there's a Fajr thing, and Iranians have plenty of those. This is MLRS, multiple launch rocket system, which is actually also very precise. And it has the range of 130 kilometers. That means what? They have long-range fires which can obliterate any kind of the landing zone. Granted that even the supply, which is the logistically, it would be able to sustain it. I don't think so. You can sustain it. And that is why they're scrambling now all kinds of the units, which, again, how do you even coordinate it between Marines, for example, wherever? Most likely they will be somewhere on the shore, southern shore of Iran, not far from Pakistan, and so somewhere there, that's most likely where they will try to land. Balochistan, they, again, traditional American way of thinking that, Baluchis, they hate Iranians. Well, yeah, they hate Tehran, but they hate the United States even more, so, and so we have this mess, and it's, okay, let me put it this way, it's cluster coitus, that's what it is.
Balochistan, what? They'd be entering Balochistan through Pakistan or through Afghanistan?
I don't know. Listen, I lost complete grasp of the American military thinking long time ago, and especially how Washington thinks, because normal, rational people cannot explain what is going on there, because it's first panic, hysteria. It's some kind of the it's hysteria essentially, and so they will need to do something. And most likely, as I already stated, they will move these 2 Marine expeditionary units somewhere, land them somewhere, or maybe they will land 82nd somewhere, So, and that's going to be horrible because it's going to be...
Do you think any of the Gulf countries could be involved, or the Gulf countries will probably stay out of it?
Geez, I mean... Their combat capabilities are just slightly above zero,
More than offering their territory for the operation.
Oh no, they already offered. Yeah, sure, we know.
Not for the bases. I mean, like allowing the troops to depart one of those countries to go into the islands, whether it's Kag Island or Abu Musa.
You're talking about assembly areas. Assembly areas are fat, prestigious targets. You cannot hide them. And if you take a look at any field manual of the U.S. Army, for example, there's assembly area. You have to put the things on the ground there, literally collect your troops. With modern recon and targeting, easy targets, just gonna fly in. And considering the fact that the United States doesn't have effective air defense, chances of being already damaged significantly at the assembly areas are very, very high. So that's what I'm saying. It's cluster coitus, and any normal military professional, be it American, Russian, Chinese, what have you, they will tell you. You look at this thing, and I don't know what this administration is doing.
There's a post just now by Trump. He said, "Keep the oil, anyone?" That was just posted by Trump. Is he hinting at an objective of trying to control the Strait of Hormuz? Try to look at this objectively. Yeah. I know you're not a fan of his. That's what you think it is.
Yeah, I mean, of course, he is a real estate shyster. He is the guy who grew up on basically, hustling with the money. 7 or 6, I don't remember, bankruptcies. That tells you everything about you need to know about how successful he is. So the only thing he understands is how to make money. That's his extent of his understanding of anything which is happens in the real world. And even earlier post today, did you read his earlier post today in Truth Social? The gush of oil, where everybody gonna be rich and all that. You just read this. Good Lord, this is a madman, just blabbering of the psychobabble, And so. Yeah, he still thinks, but what he thinks doesn't matter. It's reality on the ground dictates everything, And there is a military science. And even incompetent American generals begin to understand probably that this is absolute madness.
Oh, you're talking about this one, the one 7 hours ago. With a little more time, we can easily open the Hormuz Strait, take the oil, and make a fortune. It will be a gusher for the world.
Yeah, that's the tweet. It's just madman, basically, just blabbering about something, and that tells you level of stress he experiences. And after his famous speech 2 days ago, I mean, this is some kind of the basically word salad, and he probably senses. I don't think not only I don't think, I know he doesn't have the toolkit to grasp what is going on, but he senses it, obviously. And when even Fox begins to kind of, oh yeah, we lost here and there, and they cannot lie constantly. So he is, red flags are beginning to come up with him. And but yes, the fact that he purchased the only people in his administration, military, in Pentagon, who is like Roger George, chief of staff of the army, the man who understands logistics. And what is the most important, what many people do not understand, and behind all those chiefs of staff, don't forget whom he also fired, Pete Hegseth. He fired the main chaplain, chief chaplain of the U.S. Army, Major General, I don't remember his name. Do you know what chaplain is? He's not only spiritual leader, he is essentially a religious leader, and who most likely doesn't share fanatical views of the Scofield Bible, which Mr. Hegseth professes. But he is the guy, and his chaplainate, these are the guys who talk to soldiers. They talk to soldiers about their views, about how they feel, because obviously they have to, and of course there are confessions, religious confessions. So how do you think, does he know this chaplain, Major General, this black guy, he is, I don't remember his name. So does he know their mood in the US Army? Or if anybody knows the mood in the US Army, is that guy and his basically organization, his basically department, which serves the spiritual and moral needs of the American GIs, boys and girls, So, and these people are being removed. Actually, already removed.
Last question I want to ask you about, Andrei, is about China and Russia. There's been a lot of reports that China and Russia are supporting Iran. Russia's delivered drones. China's delivering components. How do you think they're able to get them through Iran? And do you think they can easily sustain it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Caspian Sea. Israel tried to attack Port Enzeli.
I saw that, yeah.
So, well, if they continue to attack Port Enzeli, well, actually the screws will be turned even more on Israel. But yeah, it wasn't a major damage at all. So, but no, I mean, and do not forget, there was critical news 3 days ago. And even those morons from the oilprice.com, they wrote, oh, sudden thaw in Russian-Azerbaijan relations. Yeah, because it is all about north-south corridor and railroad link, which links Russia through Azerbaijan to Tehran and to the south of Iran. So there are plenty of ways to get it. Many people do not understand. There is another railroad line which is fully operational, and it basically a bunch of the cargo follows there. It's on the other side of the Caspian Sea, and this one goes through Kazakhstan and Turkmenistan. So, and you have plenty of ways of delivering whatever you need to deliver if it comes down to it. Many people do not understand that now Mr. Kadyrov, obviously, and his Ahmad forces, they're just itching to go to fight for Iran. I don't think Russia will allow them. But of course, there are all these volunteers, as you know. And we have now what? Iran mobilized another 1 million people. You have now additional 5 million volunteers who are willing to join, not willing, they want to join Iranian army. So yeah, it's so not Iraq, and it's so not Vietnam. I cannot emphasize enough.
And last question, just on that point, how easy or difficult is it to cut off those supplies from China and from Russia?
Almost impossible. It's impossible. How can you cut off? How? You want to go to blow Bandar Anzali? There are other 4 ports which are beyond the range of the. People forget Iran is a gigantic country. It's 1.6 million square kilometers, and there are other 3 ports on Caspian Sea. And yeah, sure, if it comes down, if they somehow manage to, which is impossible, you cannot blow out with the conventional weapons. Unlike you have something like Oreshnik or Iskander, there are piers. The mooring walls for the ships. So do they want to attack Russian assets? Do they want to attack Russian ship? What's gonna happen? So, and that is why it's so complex in its nature, that it was once attempted to hit Bandar Anzali, and they didn't try it since then. It was in the first couple of weeks they attacked it, and since then they didn't, because evidently somebody from Moscow conveyed some information to Tel Aviv that yeah, there are going to be consequences.
As we finish this off, Andrei, there's been a report by the Wall Street Journal after Iran rejected Pakistan's lead in mediation, with because Tehran did not want Pakistan, they preferred Qatar. Now, Qatar has now withdrawn from negotiating a peace deal between the US and Iran, which has complicated ceasefire talks. I don't know why they were withdrawn, but they've just withdrawn.
Because they were told Qatar is owned by the United States and Israel, so they will do whatever they're told to be. So and
why would Trump want them to pull out of it? Trump wants an off ramp, as we saw in the speech. He doesn't. Well, he sees this not going well.
He wants off ramp on his conditions. That's what he was trying to do with Russia until Russia said, "Screw you," and we go, and they paused the whole thing. So for when we talk about off ramp, Trump wants off ramp as the victor. Somebody has to explain to him, which is impossible. He doesn't understand. He doesn't have the toolkit. You have to have not only the intellectual toolkit, you have to have professional toolkit, and you have to have moral, spiritual toolkit. That means that you have to have human qualities to grasp it. And so he doesn't understand it. He wants to come out and say, "I am the victor." It's too late for that. And somebody has to explain to him that he better grab this deal while he can. But do not forget, what are the 5 points of Iran, not Pakistan? What are the 5 points of Iran? It's actually removal of all bases, one way or another. They already evicted the U.S. military from the Gulf, and paying reparations for the damage. Will Trump go for this?
They could get those reparations for the Strait of Hormuz if they keep charging toll for the ships. That's the way of doing it, where the US doesn't pay it. America causes this war and lets the allies pay it indirectly, Asia and Europe.
Yeah, there are all kinds of possibilities, but Trump is not going to take it because he is a coward. He is a coward, and he cannot face that with his narcissistic, self-centered nature, that he is basically nobody. He cannot control anything. He failed miserably with Russia, that he's now the butt of the jokes all over. He was for a while. And now this one. Well, guess what we're going to do? Well, we're going to get more spin.
Andrei, absolute pleasure to have you on the show, as always. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.
And we'll